Since the announcement of 50 Cent's new documentary, things have taken a shocking turn. Hitmen were reportedly hired, and now they've started snitching on celebrities, revealing that multiple high-profile figures could be in serious trouble for allegedly trying to take Curtis Jackson out. The leaks, the threats, and the secrets in this upcoming documentary have changed everything, and the rap world is stunned. Today, we're breaking down the hitmen, the celebrities caught in the crossfire, and the explosive footage that's shaking the industry to its core. To understand why people want 50 Cent dead in 2026, you have to understand what 50 Cent survived to get here. On May 24, 2000, Jackson was attacked by a gunman outside his grandmother's former home in South Jamaica. An assailant walked up and fired 9 shots at close range with a 9mm handgun. The gunman, Daryl Homo Baum, opened fire, leaving 50 with wounds to his legs, hand, chest, and face. That is not a rumor. That is not a metaphor. That happened. The attempted hit was widely believed to have been ordered by incarcerated Queens drug lord Kenneth Supreme McGriff. And the reason? In 2005, court documents surfaced, revealing that McGriff tried to get Jackson murdered due to the rapper referencing him in a 2000 song called Ghetto Quran, a song about street dealings that named names. 50 Cent talked about the wrong people, and somebody sent a shooter to his grandmother's front yard. An affidavit by an IRS agent suggested ties between Murder Inc. and Kenneth Supreme McGriff, a New York drug lord suspected of involvement in the murder of Jam Master Jay and Jackson's shooting. This is the world 50 Cent came from. This is the environment. And the response from the industry after the shooting was silence. The rapper said that music firms stopped taking his calls, leaving him to figure out his own way. Columbia Records dropped him. He was blacklisted. But 50 came back. His 2002 mixtape Guess Who's Back was discovered by Detroit rapper Eminem, who signed Jackson to his label Shady Records. Jackson's debut studio album, Get Rich or Die Trying, was released to critical acclaim and commercial success, peaking atop the Billboard 200. The song, Many Men Wish Death, became the anthem for a man who survived a hit and came back to dominate the charts. In one particular verse, 50 Cent talked about having a hit ordered on him and joked about his nemesis needing a refund because they couldn't finish the job. That mentality, the idea that surviving attempts on your life gives you license to say whatever you want about whoever you want, is the engine driving everything happening right now. Because 50 Cent didn't just survive the streets, he turned the stories of the streets into content. And now he's doing it on a scale nobody in hip-hop has ever attempted. 50 Cent executive produced Sean Combs' The Reckoning for Netflix, a 4-part docuseries that dropped in December 2025 and pulled 21.8 million views in its first 6 days, according to Netflix. Read that number again. 21.8 million views in 6 days. That is the kind of viewership that reshapes public opinion. That is the kind of attention that wrecks careers. And that was not the end. Jackson confirmed news of another project on Instagram, writing, "Gang Wars coming soon, A&E. I got some heat." Jackson also shared a screenshot of an article by Parade, which cites a report by Deadline that Jackson's G-Unit Film and Television and Jonah Beckhor and Jonas Belpash's Citizen Jones are working together on the upcoming project. Deadline describes the series as an unfiltered look into America's most infamous gang rivalries with unprecedented access and never-before-heard accounts. So now you have a man who survived a hit, built an empire, and is now making documentaries that expose the people who tried to keep him quiet. And the people being exposed, they are not happy. The hitmen who once tried to take him out are now talking. And the celebrities connected to these stories are scrambling. From G-Unit, recent projects include the BMF documentary, Blowing Money Fast 2nd season, Netflix's Sean Combs' The Reckoning, TikTok Star Murders, and The Gilgo Beach Killer, House of Secrets for Peacock, and Hip Hop Homicides for WETV. 50 Cent is not dabbling in documentaries. He's running an entire production machine that is focused on one thing: telling the stories that people in the industry don't want told. And it's working, because people are reacting. People are threatening. People are panicking. To understand the threat level 50 Cent operates under, you have to know about the people who already tried to have him killed, and the associates who later told the whole story. The very public feud between 50 Cent's G-Unit camp and record executive James "Jimmy Henchman" Rosemond began in 2005 when 50 Cent publicly dumped the game from his label. Live on Air on Hot 97, the game was managed by Rosemond at the time, who went to speak to 50 Cent personally at the New York radio station. A disagreement ensued, shots reportedly rang out, and several acts of violence ensued in the years ahead. The situation got worse. Another notable escalation occurred in 2007, when Rosemond's 14-year-old son was jumped by Tony Yayo and Lodi Mac Fletcher. After that, things turned from street confrontations to what federal prosecutors would later call murder for hire. Tony Yayo, 50 Cent's G-Unit associate, went on record about what happened next. The beef between Jimmy Hitmen and 50 Cent nearly resulted in the G-Unit founder's murder. In a recent interview with Vlad TV, Yayo shed more light on Hitmen's infamous attempt to kill Fifth, which took place on the set of the music video for 50 Cent and Akon's 2007 single, I'll Still Kill. Yayo described how Hitmen's crew came to the video shoot with weapons, and they backed out on the hit, but we had straps too, and that was really it. Yayo confirmed that Hitmen's people had silencers on their guns, which has long been rumored. Think about that for a moment. Silenced weapons on a music video set. This is not a rap lyric. This is federal testimony. It's in the paperwork, and the gun went off in the car. So as the gun went off in the car, I guess it jammed, and they backed out of what they wanted to do. So God is good. I guess God was on our side at that time. That is a G-Unit member, on camera, describing how a hitman's gun jammed during an attempt on 50 Cent's life. And the man who ordered it? In 2011, Jimmy Hitmen was convicted in federal district court in Brooklyn of running a cocaine ring that pulled in $11 million a year. He was also found guilty of hiring men to kill G-Unit associate Fletcher in 2017. Hitmen's original trial resulted in a hung jury, but he was ultimately convicted of murder for hire in 2014 and sentenced to life in prison. Now here's the connection to the documentary announcements. 50 Cent has been telling these stories. The murder attempts, the drug rings, the industry ties to street violence in his productions, the BMF documentary, hip-hop homicides, the Diddy docuseries, gang wars. Every single one of these projects pulls back the curtain on exactly the kind of people and networks who wanted 50 dead. And when those stories get told on Netflix or A&E, the people named in them or connected to them respond. Combs has threatened to sue Netflix for airing the docuseries in a cease and desist letter that claimed The Reckoning used stolen footage. That is the legal response. The street response is different. That's where the hitmen, the associates, and the threats come in. Because when 50 Cent announces a new documentary, the people who have things to hide start making phone calls. And those phone calls don't always stay private. Some of the people receiving those calls are the same ones who are now talking. He is snitching, if you want to call it that, about who wants 50 gone and why. The murder attempts, the failed hits, the jammed guns, the silencers. These are not things that stay buried. When one man is building an entire media empire dedicated to digging them up, and 50 Cent is that man. Since the turn of the century, 50 Cent has reigned as rap's supervillain. 50 has mastered the art of the diss track while amassing a list of enemies that includes everyone from superstar rappers Nas, Fat Joe, Ja Rule, Jadakiss, Kanye West, Rick Ross, and label heads like Diddy and Jimmy Iovine, to media moguls like Oprah and Wendy Williams, and drug kingpins like Jimmy Hitmen, Roseman, and Kenneth Supreme McGriff. That is a list of enemies most people would not survive having. 50 Cent has them all, and he is making documentaries about them. The 50 Cent documentary machine did not come out of nowhere. It was built on top of beefs that stretch back to the late 1990s. And the first and most significant of those beefs involves Ja Rule and Murder Inc. Ja Rule is 50 Cent's longtime rival, as the two have had a beef with each other for nearly 30 years. Both sides have different reasons for why this feud started. Ja says it was because he didn't include 50 Cent in the music video for the 1999 song Murder for Life. However, 50 Cent wrote in his 2005 book, From Pieces to Weight, that the beef started because a friend of his stole Ja's necklace in 1999. Whatever the origin, the fallout was physical. He and Ja ended up together on a bill during a show in Atlanta, and they eventually fought in an adjacent hotel parking lot. Things later escalated back in NYC, when Ja Rule paid 50 a violent visit during 50's recording session at the Hit Factory. Over the course of several years, the pair exchanged punches, knife pokes, yapped chains, and several diss records. At the Hit Factory in New York in March 2000, Jackson had an altercation with Murder Inc. associates and received 3 stitches for a stab wound. Rapper Black Child claimed responsibility for the stabbing, saying that he acted in self-defense, and then, just 2 months after that stabbing, 50 Cent was shot 9 times. The timeline is not a coincidence. As reported by Billboard in 2005, the attempt on 50 Cent's life was believed to have been commissioned by NY drug kingpin Kenneth Supreme McGriff, along with employees of rap label Murder Inc. That is Murder Inc. the same label Ja Rule was signed to, the same label run by Irv Gotti. And how did 50 Cent respond to surviving that hit? He made it his entire brand. Many Men Wish Death was not just a song. It was a declaration that he knew who tried to kill him, and he was still here. He turned surviving assassination into the most successful marketing campaign hip-hop had ever seen. and his rivalry with Ja Rule fueled everything. The point of going through this history is to show you the pattern. 50 Cent takes his real-life beefs, real violence, real murder attempts, real street connections, and turns them into content. First, it was music. Then it was the Power franchise on Stars. Then it was documentaries. The scale has changed, but the formula hasn't. Even after Irv Gotti passed, 50 Cent still had to get the last laugh. In an Instagram post, he wrote, "I'm smoking on that Gotti pack." His issues with Gotti are related to his beef with Ja Rule, since he was signed to Murder Inc. as Gotti's record label. In 2000, a brawl took place at a New York studio between the G-Unit and Murder Inc. crews that resulted in 50 Cent being stabbed. Gotti is also associated with a drug dealer who was accused of shooting 59 times while he was at his grandmother's house. That is the foundation. The Murder Inc. beef produced the near-death experience that created the Many Men mythos, and that mythos is what gave 50 Cent the credibility to make documentaries about street violence and industry corruption. The Diddy doc, the BMF doc, gang wars, they all stem from the same place. 50 Cent's belief that he earned the right to expose people because those same people once tried to bury him. And the Murder Inc. beef also produced the template that 50 Cent is now using against new targets. He did it to Ja Rule for years, trolling, mocking, documenting, and outlasting. Now he's doing the same thing to Diddy, to Rick Ross, to Floyd Mayweather, and most recently, to T.I. 50 Cent has had beef with just about everyone, from Ja Rule to Jadakiss to Diddy. The list of enemies is long, and with every documentary announcement, the list of people who want him silenced grows longer. The Ross beef is worth noting here because it shows the scope. 50 Cent's feud with Rick Ross began in 2008, when the MMG rapper essentially called 50 irrelevant during a radio interview. The two have since taken small shots at each other, with the G-Unit boss clowning Ross for going on the Millennium Tour with Bow Wow and Omarion. And then there's Mayweather. People may not know this, but 50 Cent was once a boxing promoter who helped form the Money Team with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Due to their personal problems, the two eventually separated as business partners, costing the Queens rapper $2 million. 50 Cent has since made it his mission to troll Mayweather whenever he gets the chance. He once infamously challenged the boxer to read a page of a Harry Potter book. 50 Cent does not have beefs, he has campaigns. And those campaigns last decades. If the Murder Inc. beef created the blueprint and the Diddy documentary proved the model worked, then the T.I. situation is 50 Cent deploying the full playbook in real time. And it is the most revealing case study of how a documentary announcement can send an entire camp into crisis mode. The documentary threat is the latest escalation in a conflict that dates to 2007, when 50 called T.I. a snitch after his machine gun arrest and plea deal. That is the origin point. Perhaps the earliest point of contention between the two began in 2007 when T.I. faced federal gun charges. Arrested for attempting to buy machine guns and silencers, T.I. struck a plea deal, serving only a year despite facing up to 10 years. 50 publicly labeled Tip a snitch and accused him of cooperating with authorities. That accusation hung in the air for years. But the relationship between the two actually cooled down for a while. On 50 Cent's 45th birthday, T.I. took to Instagram to offer his well wishes. This was back in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, when Verzuz events had just begun popping off, and Harris used the opportunity of wishing Fif a happy birthday to challenge him to a battle. In an Instagram video, he said, "Pull your ass up with 20 of your records, man. Sit across from me, man." 50 ignored the challenge. In 2021, 50 Cent shut down the idea of doing Verzuz and suggested it didn't make sense since the platform itself was basically only for the pandemic. T.I. kept pushing, and then in 2026, the whole thing blew up. In February 2026, the conflict escalated dramatically. During a podcast appearance, T.I. revisited the Verzuz issue and said, "He don't want no smoke though. I called my man out. He don't want no smoke." T.I. initially suggested on $1 million worth of game that the two had agreed on a Verzuz battle, with the idea being that Tip would reveal the news. He claimed on the pod that 50 went back on the plan, playing dumb when T.I. shared the news. 50 Cent responded, not with music, but with something far more damaging. On March 5th, 50 Cent posted, and then quickly deleted, an Instagram screenshot of a headline that read, "Yo, 50 Cent reportedly developing surviving T.I. and Tiny documentary." The caption confirmed he was aware of exactly what he was implying. "Remember how quiet I got before the Diddy doc Dame thought I wasn't coming? I hope this doesn't mess up your promo tour. They're gonna ask about your 20 sexual assault cases. You might want to talk to a crisis PR person. That is not a diss track. That is a threat to someone's livelihood, reputation, and freedom." And it came from a man who had just pulled 21.8 million views on the Diddy documentary. The implication was clear. I did it to Diddy, and I will do it to you. The allegations against T.I., Clifford Harris, and Tiny, Tamika Harris, stretch back years. In 2021, attorney Tyrone A. Blackburn held a press conference representing over 30 women, alleging forced drugging, sexual assault, and trafficking spanning 15 years across Georgia and California. The LA District Attorney declined to prosecute in 2021, citing statute of limitations. T.I. and Tiny have consistently denied all allegations, calling them salacious, fabricated stories. Notably, T.I.'s own defamation lawsuit against Peterson heads to trial on June 9, 2026 in Los Angeles. Now, here is the thing about 50 Cent's documentary threats. As of March 2026, there is no verified production schedule, network deal, or actual footage to confirm that surviving T.I. and Tiny even exists. That's the genius or the cruelty of 50 Cent's approach. 50 Cent understands that in the modern era of instant viral media, the sheer threat of an exposing documentary often hits significantly harder than the actual project itself. T.I. responded, "We can go bar for bar, hit for hit, or doc for doc," T.I. said in a video. "Either way, all you gonna do is show how much of a FN you is. Let's play. Nobody fears you over here, boo-boo." But the damage was already done. The conversation had shifted from a versus battle to sexual assault allegations. T.I.'s upcoming album, Kill the King, was now competing for headlines against his own past legal issues. And 50 Cent did it all with a single Instagram post that he deleted within hours. 50 Cent's diss, featured on the theme for the new spin-off Power Origins, doesn't just target T.I. It also takes aim at his wife, Tamika "Tiny" Harris, and their children, reigniting a feud that dates back nearly 2 decades. And the situation got even more personal. The beef took a dark turn when T.I.'s son, King Harris, entered the fray. King went live with a profanity-laced rant that targeted 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, who died when the rapper was only 8 years old. King's rhetoric was brutal, shouting, "Your mama dead as fuck, go dig her up." He later wore a t-shirt featuring Sabrina Jackson's face, a move that even T.I. admitted went too far. In an interview on The Ebro Show, T.I. addressed his son's involvement. "I ain't got nothing to do with everybody moving on their own accord," he stated. While he expressed pride in his family standing together, he admitted he told King to take a step back after the shirt incident. That is what a 50 Cent documentary announcement does. It doesn't just threaten the target. It destabilizes the entire ecosystem around them, their family, their promo cycles, their legal strategies, their public image. And the people caught in the blast radius start talking, start panicking, and start making moves that only make things worse. Here is where everything comes together. 50 Cent is no longer just a rapper with beefs. He is a media mogul who has figured out how to monetize those beefs through documentary content. And the people he's targeting, from Diddy to T.I. to whoever comes next, are not just angry. They are cornered. Curtis Jackson has actually followed through before. The Diddy documentary was real, it was impactful, and it came after a long period of silence that people mistook for him backing down. That is the key. Every time 50 goes quiet, people assume the beef is over, and then a documentary drops, or a new series gets announced, or a deleted Instagram post surfaces with a caption that references 20 sexual assault cases. From G-Unit, recent projects include the BMF documentary, Blowing Money Fast 2nd season, Netflix's Sean Combs' The Reckoning, TikTok Star Murders and the Gilgo Beach Killer, House of Secrets for Peacock, and Hip Hop Homicides for WETV. Jackson's Prodigo is also behind the hit Power franchise at Starz, which has spawned 4 spin-offs. The 4th is the latest prequel, Power Origins, which is in production in New York, New Jersey. This is a television empire built on exposing the underworld, and every new project means new names, new stories, and new people who feel threatened. The Hitmen and associates who are talking now, the ones snitching on who wants 50 dead, are doing so because the walls are closing in. When your former crew member's story ends up as a 4-part Netflix special, staying quiet stops being an option. The Diddy doc proved the model. 50 Cent executive produced the Netflix docuseries on Sean Combs that aired in late 2025, a project that many in hip-hop credit with accelerating Diddy's public downfall. The implication is unmistakable. 50 is claiming he has done this before, and he is prepared to do it again. And the T.I. situation proved the threat alone is enough. By weaponizing a deleted Instagram post, 50 Cent managed to force T.I. onto the defensive, drag his past traumas back into the mainstream headlines, and control the entire hip-hop narrative without having to spend a single dollar on production. Now look at the full landscape. 50 Cent has active or rumored projects that touch on Diddy, the BMF drug organization, T.I. and Tiny, gang rivalries across America, and true crime cases connected to hip-hop. Gang Wars marks Jackson's latest collaboration with a major television network, as he continues to develop crime-focused documentary content. Every single one of those projects has people connected to it who do not want the stories told. Some of those people respond with legal threats, like Diddy's cease and desist. Some respond with diss tracks, like T.I.'s multiple songs aimed at 50. Some respond by sending their children to fight proxy wars on Instagram. And some, based on the history, respond with violence. Because let's not forget, the beef between Jimmy Hitmen and 50 Cent nearly resulted in the G-Unit founder's murder. That was not fiction. That was a real hit that failed because a gun jammed. And the man who ordered it is now serving life in prison. In 2011, Jimmy Hitmen was convicted of running a cocaine ring. He was ultimately convicted of murder for hire in 2014 and sentenced to life in prison for orchestrating Fletcher's death. That is the precedent. When 50 Cent makes people uncomfortable, some of them do not stop at legal letters and social media posts. And now 50 is making more people uncomfortable than ever before, because documentaries reach millions more people than diss tracks ever did. The snitching, the talking, the revealing, the cooperating is coming from people who are on the inside of these circles and who see what's coming. They see that 50 Cent's next documentary might be about their crew, their boss, or their operations. And instead of waiting to be exposed, some of them are getting ahead of the story by talking first. That is the dynamic. Hip-hop is watching this one very carefully. The question is not just whether the documentary exists. It is whether 50 Cent's playbook from Combs can be replicated, and whether T.I. has the PR infrastructure to absorb the impact. But the bigger question is about the people we haven't heard from yet, the ones who are not posting on Instagram or releasing diss tracks, the ones making phone calls, the ones reaching out to people who do things that don't show up on social media. 50 Cent has survived 9 bullets, a jammed silencer on a music video set, and decades of industry hostility. A significant portion of 50 Cent's success has been tied to his ability to engage his foes in and ultimately survive beef. He has turned that survival into a brand, a franchise, and a television empire. And the people he's exposing? They know that the next documentary could be about them. They know that 50 has followed through before. They know that the silence before the storm is part of the playbook. And some of them are not going to wait for the documentary to drop before they act. That is the story in 2026. The rapper who survived being shot 9 times is now the most prolific documentary producer in hip-hop. And the list of people who want him gone is growing with every announcement. The hitmen are talking, the associates are snitching, and 50 Cent, as always, is posting on Instagram like none of it matters. Because to him, it probably doesn't. He's been here before. He's been shot before. He's been targeted before. And every single time, he came out the other side with a new project, a new beef, and a new reason for the world to pay attention. That is what makes him dangerous. And that is what makes the people around him even more dangerous. Because when a man cannot be intimidated, cannot be outworked, and cannot be killed, the people who want him gone don't have a lot of options left. And the ones who are talking right now, the hitmen, the associates, the insiders, are telling us exactly what those options look like. The question is not whether 50 Cent can survive. He has proven that he can. The question is what happens next. Because in this game, the documentaries keep coming. The beefs keep escalating. And the people who have things to hide keep getting more desperate. And desperate people, as 50 Cent knows better than anyone, do desperate things.